me this tattoo.
Yep.
And they were like, yeah, you passed. And I was like, damn, okay.
Yeah, well, and then they mixed me up with some other person. Remember that? They thought that another person they interviewed tattooed you, so they hired them on accident.
Oh, yeah.
And then I messaged them and was like, hey, just wondering if I got the job. And then he was like, oh, fuck.
I gave you the job.
I already gave you the job. And then I was like, this is awkward.
It was just like another lesbian. They're like, you're all the same.
No,
it's
dead
fine.
ass. Dead ass. It was. It really was. I'm not kidding right now. It really was. It was wild.
Yeah. So.
Bitch, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
What's up, Shotty? Welcome to I Said What I Said.
Thanks.
Featured by yours truly. How are you today?
I'm nervous.
Yeah, I get that. It's actually kind of nice being able to have you on this little podcast. You know, I've been doing this solo for quite a few months now, and it's been pretty interesting.
Talk to yourself.
Talking to myself. Angel in the background, like, yeah. So pretty much I just brought you on today because obviously you're wifey. You've been a part of the history of Unsaid Inc., but before all that, it was just
You were just Chai.
Just
You were
Chai.
just Chai.
I was China,
You were
actually.
straight up China.
I was China, and then it converted to Chai, then converted to Chai. So, you know, I think it's important to bring you on because my audience...
You want me to tell them all the dirty secrets?
all the dirty secrets,
Okay.
the tea.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, mostly I just want to talk about life, love, the pursuit of happiness, all the things we've been doing, and what your experience has been like on this side of the path, you know, because I feel like a lot of people know who I am as it is me, Unsaid Inc., but I think there's a lot of curiosity because we've been together for so long, going on 10 years this year. Woo woo! Nooks. So that's pretty exciting. So what has your experience been like being
Which part?
my wife?
Which part? There's been many timelines of Chai.
Yeah, I mean, let's just go all the way back to the beginning. You know, like when we first started dating, where I was at in my life at that point.
Do we want to go there?
We want to go
Do
there.
we want to go there?
It's not called I Said What I Said. It's called She Said What She Said. So yeah, in the beginning, you know, I mean, I wasn't really doing a whole lot with my life.
No.
I feel like I was pretty lost
I still
for
liked
quite
you.
some time. Yeah, you seem to really believe in me.
I wasn't doing a whole lot either, so you just hung out a little bit.
Well, we were young. How old were we?
Yeah.
19, 20?
I was 19.
I was 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were just babies.
Yeah.
Just babies trying to figure it out.
You weren't really tattooing.
I wasn't really tattooed.
Well-
Shit.
You were trying to tattoo. It wasn't going well.
No. Tattooed her on the couch one time.
You tattooed me on the couch a couple times.
Times.
Are you allowed to say that?
I just said
Are you
it.
going to get canceled?
It's called I Said What I Said.
Okay. So, yeah. So we met. Well, we met when I was like 17 in high school. I started
in high
dating
school.
when I was like 19. And I think you were working at Dairy Queen.
I think
I was
too.
working at like Kohl's. And then we wanted to hang out. So I quit my job at Kohl's and you quit your job at Dairy Queen because fuck a shift. We were like, we're going to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got married when I was 22.
Yeah, I was 23.
And before we got married, I feel like you were trying to find an apprenticeship or like same time you were trying to find an apprenticeship. You got an apprenticeship.
Yeah, that
was
turned
fucked.
to shit real quick.
Yeah. You got an apprenticeship and then you slowly did not have an apprenticeship like 3 days later. So
Yeah.
And then I lost my job
Yeah.
and we said, fuck it. We moved to Sacramento. I moved to Sacramento. You
Pretty
just
much.
came with me.
Yeah, I mean this definitely evolved over like a few years for sure. I think like when I look back at that time frame, I remember this one conversation with your mom, and it was like the day that I got let go of the apprenticeship and things just weren't working out for me. I remember just like coming over to your mom's house and sitting on the floor and I was just so sad and defeated. And I just remember your mom being like, Chai, don't give up now. You're so close. It's going to happen for you. And I remember just like not being able to believe what she was saying. Like,
Yeah,
because that's
like,
how
no, my
defeated.
life is over.
Yeah. And I think
For
I
a
gave
second,
up
I
for
was
a
like,
while
oh my
after
God,
that.
her life is over.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely did kind of like put it down for a minute and let go of that dream. And I think really, you know, if we fast forward a couple more years, it wasn't until we moved down to Sacramento that I really got ambitious about it again and really saw the potential and, you know, what I can make of myself here. Yeah. And then we bring in Lucky Rabbit.
Yeah, we've been here for like 7 years, and you were still doing caregiving when we moved here.
Welcome, booties.
Yeah, that was an interesting time.
Yeah.
I was managing PacSun, also an interesting time.
Yeah.
Terrible time.
It was awful.
It was an awful time.
Awful. Yeah, people want to talk about what marriage is like. Let's talk about the first few years we moved here.
I think it was really, interesting. It was an interesting time. I moved here first. We were apart for like 2-3 months until you moved down here.
Yep.
I was working as an assistant manager at PacSun, and then you were doing like random caregiving whatever jobs while still trying to get an apprenticeship. And then Lucky Rabbit was like, come tattoo and show us what you could do. And you gave me this tattoo.
Yep.
And they were like, yeah, you passed. And I was like, damn, okay.
Yeah, well, and then they mixed me up with some other person. Remember that? They thought that another person they interviewed tattooed you, so they hired them on accident.
Oh yeah.
And then I messaged them and was like, hey, just wondering if I got the job. And then he was like, oh,
we
fuck.
Gave you the job.
I already gave you the job. And then I was like, this is awkward.
It was just like another lesbian. They're like, you're all the same.
No,
it's
dead
fine.
ass. Dead ass. It was. It really was. I'm not kidding right now. It really was. It was wild.
Yeah. So Lucky Rabbit was a adventure.
Yeah.
And you basically made like no money.
No, I think I was doing $40 tattoos.
Yeah.
Like back to back, dude.
And then you were like, I'm going to quit my real job, and I'm going to tattoo. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. We can make no money together.
Yep.
We paid like nothing in rent, and it was still like, oh my God, we're paying this much in rent.
How did it feel for you to take those chances on me?
I mean, I feel like at the time I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a supporter. I'm a wife now. I have to say yes, right? Like, that's what wives do. Yes, I believe in you. But in the deep down back of my head, I was like, oh, God, I hope this works or else we're fucked.
She signed the paperwork.
We are going to live in this one room with our 2 dogs in your aunt's house for the rest of our freaking lives if this does not work.
Yeah. I think for me, like, there was a little bit of security in it because you had been so consistent in retail for so long that I knew that we could depend on that if anything happened, but I'm sure that added a lot of pressure to you. But in the same time, like, it did also, you know, living with my aunt also helped, just knowing that, like, we were living with a family member who, if all this went to shit,
we've got auntie.
We got auntie, you know? And so I think in the beginning of the journey, like, there was a lot of risks that needed to be taken, obviously, but I definitely think we had the right, like,
I feel like it didn't even feel that risky because we were living at your aunt's. I was already so far into what I thought was going to be my career. I was like, I'm going to be a district manager. I'm going to be a regional manager. Don't worry, boo. I got you. I'm going to make a shit ton of money, which, like, in 2017, what a district manager makes sounded like a shit ton of money. Right. And now I'm like, I would never do that.
I think I make more money than a district manager.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
If you work retail, it's not worth it.
No, it's not. So if you work retail, quit your job.
If you work for PacSun, am I allowed to say that? If you work for PacSun, don't. Canceled.
Did you ever sign what are they called?
An NDA?
NDA?
PacSun, no. What the? They're not that important.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So I worked at Lucky Rabbit. I think I did that for a year or two. Maybe not even 2 years. Yeah.
I don't even know if it was a full year. I did meet
Amber during that phase of my life, and I'm very grateful for her. And Chase, good old Chase. Haven't talked to him in a minute, but you know, he was a
but he was like saving grace because I was like, man, if we're gonna be in this, like,
no, it was a street shop. That's what it was. It was a street shop, and anyone who has experience in street shops or, you know, has ever gotten one of those Friday the 13th tattoos just on a whim knows exactly what
there's some
the environment
acceptable
is like.
Friday the 13th tattoos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not at that place.
But yeah, you know, a lot of that lifestyle was similar to, you know, my father's experience in the industry. And for me in the beginning, I thought that was completely normal. But, you know, thankfully I did meet Amber. I did come across her very early on in my career. And I do think that, you know, following her for the next like few years after that was really helpful for me because it gave me a sense of hope. And also having a female mentor really meant a lot to me. And I think it really changed the direction that I ended up going down in my career. I think
that entire period of your life, I was just scared. I wasn't scared that you were going to fail. Like, I feel like I knew that, like, okay, this isn't where we're going to stay forever. But then it was also like, are we going to stay here forever? Like, is this my life? Is this normal? Is this a normal tattoo artist life? Because if that's the case, like, I don't know if I can be that wife. Like, Amber scared the shit out of me. The shop scared the shit out of me.
Amber scared the shit out of me, too.
I love her, but holy shit.
Yeah. Amber still scares me.
So, yeah, I was glad that we didn't have to endure that for that long.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I moved a few different stores in that period of, like, assistant manager at PacSun, back to Ulta, back to store manager at PacSun, back to Ulta.
Yeah. Well, and I think this period in our life was probably the rockiest that we've had, you know? We both were experiencing so many different transitions, not just like individually, but also in marriage and career. It was a new location. We were living in a new city. We were meeting new people, inviting new people into our lives. And I think all of it felt so chaotic. When I reflect back on that, there was like no consistency
in our life at the time. I mean, we literally got married. 6 months later, I was like, let's be apart. I'm going to move to Sacramento. And you were like, well, I guess I'll move to Sacramento. Yeah. And then you're like, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to be a tattoo artist. And I was like, okay. Yeah. Cool. And then, in our first year of marriage, like, that's a lot to do. And then also, we had no idea how to be in a marriage at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, neither of us come from healthy backgrounds of marriage.
We also don't been together for
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. I think I proposed to you after a year. I was like, put a ring on it. So, gotta strap her down real quick.
I was like, please marry me.
You're a desirable woman, you know. Had to hold you down somehow. Yeah, I do think it was challenging, you know. I think we've given ourselves a lot of grace. I think over the last few years especially, we've really grown a lot. I think, you know, it's interesting, like, so many people look back on that period of COVID and all the shutdowns and stuff. And I was actually pretty nervous going into the shutdown, being home every single day when you and I were so adapted to not spending all our time together like that. And I think, you know, we had been in rocky positions prior to, just because of my career and also because of the weight your career was putting on your plate. And I think that was a really healing time period for us, you know?
That was the best time.
That was the best time.
I mean, COVID, obviously, shitty.
Awful.
Staying home. That I quit my job. Yep. I was cooking food.
I made her quit her job.
Yeah, you forced me to quit my job because I hated it.
Yeah. You were miserable. You were miserable back then, you know? And I remember when you got that call and they were like, you need to come back on Monday.
I cried.
And it was your birthday. They called you on your fucking birthday. And your whole family and us were just like chilling. And they called you and they were like, shutdown's being lifted, blah, 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 blah. And then me and your mom were like, absolutely the fuck
They gave
not.
Me 2 options. Come back to work and get paid, or don't come back to work and you're let go.
Yeah.
And
I just remember you being on the phone and me and your mom are just like dead ass looking at each other like, how the fuck are we going to get her to not go back to this job?
Like, no. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be there Monday morning, 9 a.m. Okay, crying. I'll be there.
Yeah. I mean, that was a measurable time, though, in our life, truly, because, like, I think I think you quitting your job just freed up our lives so much in regards to holiday, our schedule, the way that we live our life. Like we absorb so much more family time and so much more connection with the people we love and care about now that you don't have that restriction in your life. And I think that brings us a lot of joy too. You know, I think our families are both a little chaotic at times, but nonetheless, like we fucking love being around them and you know, they're important to us. I was so
jealous all the time that I was just envious that you got to just like stay for Thanksgiving dinner and I had to go work.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and that made me sad too, you know? Like, I don't want to be solo at this family function.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I think that pushed me a lot to go to school and go do hair because I really wanted to work for myself. And like watching you work for yourself, I was like, obviously I was proud of you, but at the same time, I was like, I'm just so jealous right now. Like, I want to do that. I want to go out and do whatever I want, whenever I want. Like, and obviously there's a whole other part of running your own business that is responsibility and all of these things. But
not in the beginning. Not in the beginning though. Like in the beginning when you were knee deep in PacSun and I was out living my best fucking life.
Yeah,
like
you were living
I
your
met
best
Maudie.
Life. I was living my worst life. You were living your best life.
Yeah, and I can't imagine like how that felt for you, you know? I'm sure that it definitely added some real envy at the time. Sad. You know, but I obviously like I missed you during all of those outings, you know. I wished you were there, but I also knew that you were just strapped into a job you didn't love. But yeah, you know, I think like at the end of the day, all of these things have really led us to getting to where we are, you know, and we've like really come together in a lot of our dreams and visions of our future. And I think, you know, it's interesting now, like now I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like we're in another one of those transitional phases in our life where like we're getting pushed to the end of a chapter and we're like, oh fuck, how do we move now? You know?
I mean, I feel like we did talk about this, like we had a 5-year plan. Well, we had no plan when we got together, obviously. The plan was
we're together.
We're going to party and we're going to be together.
Yeah. We're going to get fucked up.
We're going to prove everybody wrong and we're going to stay together, which we did.
We did.
But then we were like, okay, we have kind of a plan. We're going to move to Sacramento. China's going to become a tattoo artist. I'm going to stay at PacSun apparently for the rest of my life.
Did you think that it was going to end up like this?
I just, no. No. You? What? The whole business was?
All of it.
No.
All of it.
No, I did not.
Me neither.
I didn't. I feel like I thought you would open your own business eventually, but it would just be like you.
Yeah. Which one day it might, you know? One day it might just be me. And probably a little Riva baby because, you know, that's my son.
But now you have like 12 other people.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I was just like thrown into like shop wifey. Thank God you have Victoria now because I'm like, I'll visit, but
yeah, we tried to make you my booking assistant one time and
that was infuriating.
It didn't work well. Yeah,
awful.
Didn't work well. So
I'm
good shout out to Victoria.
People. Yeah, like I worked customer service so long that I feel like you handed me the books and I was like, no, I don't want to talk to any of these people. I don't want to be nice. I don't want to talk to them, but I will.
Yep.
And through email, like I'm not a texter. I'm not an email. I'm like I need to be face to face. Like otherwise, I'm gonna sound rude. I'm gonna just come off too direct. Like,
yeah. But yeah, I mean, so getting back to like our 5-year plan, like when we were younger, we didn't really have like an actual plan. We had an idea, you know, we had common interests, common values of like what we wanted our lives to look like. You know, I think that now it's a little harder because, you know, the picture got a lot bigger.
Yeah.
You know, I think when we were younger, it was just like, how do we survive our 20s?
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, fuck, dude, how do I make it to 60?
We were definitely both in survival mode for most of our relationship. And I feel like I've talked about this in therapy. Like we grew up together and now we are real adults. And now what do we do? Because now we need a new 5-year plan or a new 10-year plan or whatever. And I think for a long time, yours was building your business and building clientele in Sacramento and getting it started and having a name here. And then you met Maudie and then there was partnership and building your guys' business and all of those things, and I was just kind of like floating around hoping one day someone would come save me from my own freaking misery of PacSun. And then COVID hit and I was like, now's the time. Well, you forced me. You're like, now's the time.
Yeah.
And then I went to school and now I feel like I have my career going and you have your career set, that it's like, okay, well,
yeah,
we could just keep doing this for a while, which we totally could. But I feel like neither one of us are those kind of people that are just like, we're just gonna do this for a while.
I don't want the same thing for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
you know,
like
I want growth.
We need plans.
Yeah,
we need goals.
Yep.
We need
and we've talked about, you know, having children, and if that's something that would come into play in our lives at some point, and both of us have agreed that
both of us
we're better off childless. We're the aunties. Yeah. we're the aunties. Yeah, exactly. You know, and I respect the shit out of that. I don't want to be a mother.
Yeah.
You know,
I think in your 20s too, that's when you start thinking about it. And you're like, I mean, 25, 26, whatever. You're like,
but then you get to your 30s and all your friends start having kids. I'm not there yet.
Let's make that very clear.
And I'm like, good off that. You know,
you're in your 30s. I'm still 27. Forever.
You're about to be 30.
Anyways, I have time. Yeah, and then everyone else starts having kids, and you're like, do we do this? Like, should we really do this? And then it feels more of like a societal norm to be like, yeah, of course we're going to have children. And I think our parents was a big
Both of our parents would love grandbabies from us.
But I think, you know, when the first few years of marriage, it was like, when are you having children? And we were like, okay, one, it's not that easy. We can't just pop them out.
I'm 25.
Two, I am barely paying for myself. Like, trying to just start at a freaking tattoo shop? I don't know. Now they're more accepted it of like, okay, we're not having children.
Dogs
Once our
might
parents
be
accepted it of like, oh, we're not getting grandchildren out of Marley and China, then it was like, cool, we're free.
Yeah.
We're in the clear. Yeah. We don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then my brother started having
I don't
kids,
even know,
like,
you know, as two queer women in a relationship who have been married for a long time, like, that is another conversation to have, because we have to actually make a conscious and mindful decision to have children.
Yeah, I do feel
I
like
can't
that
just
is a weird
accidentally
thing.
knock you up, you know, and be like,
really,
ooh, surprise,
like,
motherfucker. Like,
not to say that, not to say people don't think about their decision about having children. Oh, no, fuck that.
Like, let's be real. Some people don't think about it.
They're just having fucking kids.
Exactly.
We have to really think about having children. I didn't think about getting a dog, and now I'm stuck with this damn dog. I love that dog, but Jesus.
Yeah, the commitment.
Yeah.
The commitment. Yeah. And I think that's one thing we both, as the oldest siblings, and we both also as two people who got married very young, like, I think we made our commitments quite early in our life. Yeah. And I think now that we're older, we're looking back on those commitments and being like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm gonna ride these out, and then as I get older, I'm gonna make less and less of those. Yeah. You know?
I'm trying to live my best life.
I made one commitment in my life, and it's to you. And that's the only commitment I'm trying to just keep on rolling with. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's really interesting, too. And because a lot of people in our life are heterosexuals, I think they don't always understand the adversities that we face as queer women, you know, and as a queer couple. And I think for them, sometimes it's very like, yeah, we're going to have kids. And for us, it's like, well, you know, like, not a lot of queer folks do have kids. And then there is a handful that do, but it's vastly different in numbers, because
client, I have
you
a client
seriously
who
have
had a
to
baby,
fucking think about it.
She paid money for that baby.
What is it, like $40K for IVF or something?
Something like that.
Girl,
it was crazy.
Put that in my Roth IRA.
And not to say there aren't heterosexual people who have to pay for children, because they
do too. Absolutely.
But it's not, it's not as common, and it's not as easy for me to just be like, I'm gonna get pregnant in like 3 months, so let's do this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and I also just kind of think, like, at the end of the day, you and I really value our sovereignty and our freedom, you know, and I think we look forward to being able to kind of just do what we want with our lives.
We're selfish with our time.
Yeah, and our money.
I have no problem saying that. I do not want to spend money on some little gremlin.
Yeah, same.
Not happening.
Yep. Unless it's
I'll spend
Kimmy,
money on
Ember, Ace,
my brother's
and Laura.
gremlins, because I can send him home. And Hayden and Holly's baby, of course. Yep. And your sister's baby, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, you could give me all the, like, nieces and nephews
I get to buy fun shit. I'm not trying to buy everything else.
Yeah.
Spending $100 on diapers.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
No.
All right. Well, on that note, I think it's a good time to take a break. Gotta go potty.
Yes, girl.
I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
Hello again.
Hi.
How's it going?
We meet again.
We meet again.
I like it.
Did you have a good break?
Yeah.
Good. All right. We're gonna get a little more serious on this round. So I think one of my questions for you is gonna be, how has marriage played a role in career and business for both of us, especially in your perspective? I think it's important to kind of tell that story.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts?
I feel like, well, we didn't really know how to run our marriage for a long time. It was just, free balling it, really.
Yeah.
You brought in a whole nother person basically into our marriage. You were like, hey, I met this girl. She's really cool. And I was like, cool. And you were like, I'm going to start a business with her. And I was like, when did you meet her? And you were like, 2 months ago.
Yeah. I think Maudie and I opened up Les like 3 months into being friends.
Yeah.
Well,
you guys decided that you were going to open it. Yeah. You just came home one day and you're like, hey, I'm going to use our savings account, which is, our entire savings that we've ever had. I need $5,000.
Yep.
I'm going to, Maudie's going to have $5,000. I'm going to have $5,000. We're going to do what we can. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. I've met her twice at the bar, so we'll see how that goes. So, yeah, I feel like, our marriage was kind of put on the back burner for a while, and that was really hard because we still didn't have, our foundations put together. We were still just winging it. We were still just, doing our old shit, and, we didn't really have marriage to look up to, so we were just
going in blind.
That this would work out and that it would be okay.
We were still kids, living in survival mode, coping with our trauma, and just trying to make a buck or two.
I mean, when you guys opened Les, that was the worst time of my personal life, so that also just felt really rough because you were super occupied with starting a business, which is understandable now to me, but then it was what the hell?
Yeah.
I'm first. I'm always first. What the frig is this?
Yeah. Well, I think that was hard for me too. I think balancing business and marriage was really hard for me because I didn't know how to do either. Both. I didn't know how to do either, and trying to combine that was also quite the challenge too. Yeah. Because I had 2 places to be now, not just one. Yeah. So I definitely think that brought on its own challenges.
Well, I also think watching you make decisions with another person, it was that obviously Les was not really anything that I ever wanted to be mine necessarily. It wasn't, oh, I want to go into business with you and make Les tattoos mine, ours, or whatever. But everything that you guys did, it was I was there. I was watching you do it. And sometimes I had to bite my tongue. You and Maudie would be like, we're going to do this and this and this. And I'm like, that was a terrible idea, but sure. And luckily it worked out. But there was many times where I had to be okay, I'm her wife, but I'm not her business partner. And take a step back because this is their business and they're going to do what they want to do, not what I want them to do. And Maudie was basically a third person in our marriage for a long time because you guys were partners and you guys spent so much time together, which means we all spent so much time together. But I can't tell Maudie what to do. She's not my wife, So
she's an independent woman.
Yeah. So I do feel that was really interesting. Now it's much better because I have my own career, and obviously you having your career already set up was just so helpful for me to set up what I'm doing now because I already watched you do it. And sorry, but I was oh, babe struggled with this, and this. Well, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
so,
right, yeah.
Oh, babe, how do I do this? How do I do that? I had a clear advantage in that aspect. So that was really helpful. And now I get to step back and watch you do you. I also feel when you guys expanded and you brought so many people in, it was okay, now there's more people in my life. If you know me, I have not many people. I pick and choose very wisely, and now you're like, I'm gonna have 12 people working at the shop, and I was like, damn, that's 12 people I have to like
them so much.
Yeah, and you love everybody, and I'm like, I have to love all of them.
Yeah, I can definitely see how, you know, that can be a lot for someone, especially someone like you, because I do feel like your relationships are very sacred and very intimate, and I do think that you build relationships for longevity, you know, and I think, like, I am a very personality type person, and if you got a good vibe, then I'm here to fucking ride this ride, you know?
You love everybody. I love 4 people.
Yeah, right, exactly. You know, and I mean, we're 2 different personality types in this area for sure.
And Madi matches that for you too. So I feel like, you know, what I couldn't give you in that aspect, Madi got you. And you guys did that. So but you guys also wanted to go out and network and do all these things and be with all these people. And
well, dude, and back then, like, it felt so... Back then, it felt so necessary. Like, and I know it was weird because it was such a different dynamic, right? Like, it was no longer just like... I mean, obviously, we were going out, we were getting drunk, we were turning up in the city, whatever. But I think so much of that did help along the way at the end of the day.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people got to know you.
And it just, like, you know, and social media just wasn't what it is now. Back then, we were still handing out business cards back then, you know, like, you had to have that face-to-face value.
You could still walk in.
But, you know, thankfully we've grown up, all of us, and, you know, we've made better decisions. We've learned how to manage business properly. You know, we're showing up more genuine, more authentic to who we are as individuals, and I respect the shit out of that, you know?
Totally.
It's
my best friend works for you. I mean, I get to see all my favorite people in, like, one spot. My best friend works for you. Our other best friend works for you.
Other best friend, exactly, you know.
That's fine.
Yeah, I love just, like, how much Les has given back to the people that I love so much, you know, like, because I think if that was any part of the dream, it was always to build something that fed the people that I love, you know, and I think it does go full circle now, you know. I think in the beginning it was quite the challenge, but I'm very grateful for where we've landed this past year, you know. So yeah, it's been good. What are some of the things you're looking forward to seeing me do as I move forward as a business owner and entrepreneur?
Well, so many things.
There are a lot of things.
There's so many things.
I'm a big dreamer.
You are a big dreamer. I feel like I never know what the fuck you're gonna do.
No,
because
I never know what the fuck I'm gonna do.
I feel like you're a new person every year of our marriage, you know? It's like, you're still my China girl, but you're so many versions of that.
I got long hair now. Fuck.
When you ask me, like, what do you see me doing? I don't freaking know, because it could change tomorrow. I think I am really excited to see you just, like, step into yourself and, like, your own. You've spent so much time just building, like, Les, and not to say that it wasn't for you, because it was for you and it was for Madi, but it was also for everyone else who is there, and it's for the community, and it's for all these other people that I think the next year and the next couple years to come is going to be more focused. It's your selfish era. Like,
it is.
You're going to build your own and do whatever you want to do, and Les is running the way you wanted it to run, and it's good by itself, and you can step back and step up for yourself. And, like, I feel like you do have a really hard time doing that sometimes, of, like, being in your selfish era, because you are such an giving empath. Like, you feel everything for everyone, and now you're gonna feel for yourself what you want. And I am excited, because who knows what that's gonna look like.
I think that scares the shit out of me, to be honest. You know, I think I have obviously been doing a lot of, like, soul searching over the last couple of years, and I think the direction I'm going now is, it feels great. You know, I do feel like it feels very powerful to pick me for once. But, you know, anything unfamiliar just feels very, very scary, you know, because it's easy to do things for other people. It's easy to build this empire that houses a safe space for queer and non-binary folks. Like, it's easy to do that. It's hard to do that for yourself. You know, it's hard to pick you. And so I'm very curious about what the next couple of years is going to bring for me, you know, and how that's going to impact our life and our future. But I'm excited to say that, you know, there's so much to look forward to.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of power in choosing yourself and just appreciating the value of your individuality. And so I look forward to kind of just seeing how that transitions not only myself, but just us together as a whole.
I feel like we've both been taking a lot of steps to like work towards a future that we want. And you've been doing a lot of self-work for a really long time. And I've been doing a lot of self-work for a long time. And we've been doing self-work together in our marriage and all of these things. And it's been like survival mode, chaos mode, okay, chill mode. And now it's like, now what?
Yeah. Yeah. Now what? Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
We're going to find out.
Yeah, we are going to find out. That's for sure. So I think my biggest question in this whole episode is, would you do it any different?
Our life?
All of it.
Everything?
Yeah.
God, it's like yes and no.
Yeah.
No, because look at us now. You know, I wouldn't change anything that we have or that we've done or anything for the world, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think we caused each other a lot of
emotional turmoil.
Yeah. Frustrations and hurt and just not always the best or nice things. But we learned so much from doing that I wouldn't want to do that obviously with anyone else, and I wouldn't want to do it any different, but I think it led us to this where we are.
Yeah.
So no, I want to take it back.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think has really like, what's the glue that holds us together?
I feel like you're asking me like, what's the key to a happy marriage?
Kind of. I mean, this is a question that I get asked a lot. You know, every time I post those like ask me questions or they're not gonna lie, like I get asked this a lot, you know, like what are the green flags? How have you and Marley stayed together for so long? Like how do you overcome hurdles in your relationship? And it's like sometimes I feel like I know what I've done on my end to add value to this relationship. Yeah. But it's great to hear your side too, you know, because I can only speak on my behalf. Exactly.
Well, I know what I bring to the table. You should know what I bring to the table.
Obviously, I know that. Tell the people.
I know what I bring to the table. I feel like together in marriage, not you and not me, together, that's one thing is it's not you and it's not me. Obviously, you do have to work on yourself. You have to realize the patterns that you're making or the patterns that you're doing. Like in life in general, if they're not working, you have to change it. And that can go for marriage, that can go for your business, that can go for yourself, whatever it is. And there was a lot of times where I had to grow the fuck up and realize what I'm doing is not working in my life, in marriage, in business, like in all of those aspects.
Yeah.
The number one thing I think for our marriage has been that we have changed together and we have grown together. Like there is a different version of you now than there was when you were 20. Yeah. And I loved them both just as much, but in a healthier way now. And same for myself. I feel like I was a totally different person when I was 19 and I loved her when she was little baby crazy me. Yeah. But I would not.
Fuck, me too, man.
I was a me too. Crazy girl, but like.
Yeah.
I had to change to make this work and I had to grow to make it work. Yeah. And I think trusting each other that we will still love each other through those growth periods and those changes is like the number one.
I would have to agree. Yeah. I feel like it's like I choose to love you every day. You know?
I think it is.
It's not just a feeling. It's also a mindful, conscious decision that I make because some days you show up grumpy as fuck and I'm like, you know, vice versa. Like it goes both ways. But I choose every day to love you through any hurdles or obstacles that we are enduring. You know what I mean?
I think we both have talked about this too of like the whole unconditional love thing is just not.
No, we got conditions.
True. There are conditions, and there should be conditions.
We're grown.
If you have boundaries and you have self-respect, there should be conditions in your marriage and in your love and in your friendships and in any relationship that you have. Yeah. And the two main ones are like respect and honesty and love, general love, obviously. But I could genuinely love you and still not have respect for you, or still not respect your boundaries, or still not be honest with you. And those are our conditions. You be honest and you have self-respect and you respect each other.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing about getting older is you learn to have standards, but to let go of expectations.
Yeah.
You know, like, these are my standards. This is how I would appreciate you showing up in my life, but I will not expect that of you, because I can't put that decision on anyone.
We always tell our friends, don't date someone who doesn't treat you the way China treats me, or vice versa. And also, don't date someone who would treat you the way we have treated each other in the past.
Yeah.
Those are not our standards anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, dude, sometimes I look back at who I was as a younger kid, and I'm just like, man, you were destructive.
You were messy.
You were messy. You were toxic. You were mean. And now, like, I'm very proud of the woman I've evolved into. Totally. You know, I'm also proud of the woman you've evolved into. And I really do truly look forward to what the rest of our lives looks like, because I think we've worked really hard to get to where we are. I think we've learned a lot about ourselves. I think we've learned a lot about our relationship. And, you know, the only way is up. The only way is up. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that said, thanks for joining my podcast.
For saying what you said.
Thanks for saying what you said.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Did you have a good time?
I did.
Great. I love that. Well, I look forward to bringing episode 2 to you guys. Today was a wonderful episode with my darling wife, Marley. And, you know, if you guys have any comments, or you want to just drop something below, share your opinions or your thoughts, you want to hear me talk about something in particular, you want to see a certain guest on the show, go ahead and also drop that in the comments. But stay tuned for the next episode of I Said What I Said. Peace.